Welcome back. You're tuned into Bazaar Morning Call. Hope you're having a good morning. Well, plenty of stuff to discuss. We just ran you through the list, and we have with us Siddhartha Khemka, the head retail researcher at Motilal Oswal Financial Services, who joins us on the show. Hi, Sid. Good morning. Well, let's focus on the banking pack first. We've got a lot of bank, quarterly updates that come in. The big boy HDFC, well, the street was a little bit disappointed with the merged entities numbers because it was lower than what, other banks have reported, and also in comparison to their own high standards. What's your view in terms of the banking pack? What stood out from all the banking quarterly numbers that we got?
Yeah, very good morning, Nigel. Thanks for having me on your show. It's always a pleasure. So if you look at the overall banking sector, that has been one sector which has been leading from the front in terms of the earnings delivery. And the same is expected for Q1 as well. We have seen some of the pre-quarterly business updates that have started coming in for some of the private banks, some of the NBFCs, and all suggest that credit growth continues to remain strong. We had the overall RBI data for the system credit growth in June above 15%. So definitely from the last years of 17-18% of credit growth on a high base, it is normalizing. For the current financial year, we are expecting 13% credit growth for the system. The asset quality is likely to remain stable with not much of impact on the asset quality front. NPAs are likely to remain stable, so that should drive earnings. So if you look at overall, our expectation from the quarter is that the banking sector could show a 54% earnings growth in Q1, and that would be largely driven by the PSUs, which would report a growth of in excess of 90%. For the full year, we expect the banking sector to remain pretty steady with more than 20% growth, and that should lead to the sector stock performance outperforming the industry because of the growth that they continue to report. Coming specifically to HDFC, yes, there was slight miss in terms of the numbers that they reported. I think about 4-5% below our expectation and as well as street expectation. But the long-term structural story for HDFC remains pretty strong with the merger taking effect, and the efficiencies or the synergy benefits would start playing out this year itself. So within the overall banking space, as I said, PSUs would lead from the front, and for the first time, we are giving out Bank of Baroda as our preferred pick within the PSU space after having kept SBI as our pick for the last several quarters. And within the private banking space, ICICI and HDFC are our two preferred bets within the overall banking space.
Siddharth, morning. Motherson Sumi, Samvardhan Motherson made a big acquisition. They've acquired Honda's subsidiary Yachiyo's four-wheeler business. The pricing appears to be attractive with this acquisition. They also foray into new segments like sunroofs. Motherson's, Sumi, Samvardhan Motherson Sumi, SAML as it's called, is a stock that you like. What have you all made of this acquisition, and can it re-rate the stock?
Yeah, Rima, good morning. So I think, yes, this is a pretty decent acquisition that they have made, and rightly so in an effort to diversify their customer base, the business model. So Samvardhan is something that we have been liking a lot for quite some time. The company is seeing good recovery in its key segments, especially if you look at the improvement in the supply chain for some of the OEMs. And if you look at specifically from Samvardhan's perspective, the company is now taking good strides. The acquisition is at a fair valuation, and we expect it to kind of EPS accretive going forward. So overall, I think that's a good acquisition and will help the company diversify. We believe that Motherson will benefit from the industry-wide recovery. There's a strong execution of order book, and with the raw material costs receding, that should also help. So overall, the stock trades at a fair valuation of about 20 times FY24 and 17 times FY25, which gives us a good upside from current level. So we have a target price of 102 on Samvardhan Motherson.
So that do stay on. We want to just
Siddhartha Khemka is still with us. Siddhartha, thanks for waiting. By the way, we're getting the pre-open rates the first minute in, and they'll come up on your screen. 82.37 on the rupee as well as we open. It's weaker this morning. Now, Siddharth, the two names. One is Genus Power, if you have a view. Stock last 2 days has been flying. There's that marquee deal with GIC, which was announced day before yesterday. And then the other one, just wanted to want your thoughts on is Dixon, which sold off a little bit. There was a Jefferies downgrade yesterday. The stock was down 4-5%. Your thoughts, Genus and Dixon?
Yeah, Prashant. So unfortunately, both the stocks, we don't have coverage right now. But I think Genus, there was two news back to back. One was a large order that they got. And the second is the tie-up that they are done with GIC for the smart metering projects. I think the space is really exciting. And with the large order book and with a tie-up like that, I think the company is well poised. But unfortunately, we don't have coverage. So I don't have any view on the valuations or the stock price. Coming to Dixon, I think again another space which has been doing very well. We are seeing a lot of interest in this space where you have the suppliers, the electronic manufacturers to the OEMs. And on back of that, Dixon has been doing well. There has been a lot of stimulus in terms of the PLI schemes, a lot of global companies setting up base in India. So I think that space again looks exciting. A lot of new companies are getting listed in that space. We are getting Cyan DLM, which will get listed. That is another IPO that was coming up, which looked really interesting. Along with that, you had some of the defense names that are coming out with IPO. So we are having the listing of Idea Forge today. We had a very positive view on the IPO, and I think with a unique business model of making drones both for civil as well as defense, I think that company will also do well. And coming to the IPOs, I should definitely put a pat on the back for Mangalam and Nigel. I was hearing the interview they had with the management of PKH Ventures, where they were questioning them about the several related party transactions, the working capital requirement and the cash flows. A well-rounded interview, and definitely helps investors in this time of euphoria where a lot of IPOs gets hugely oversubscribed on back of the expectation of listing gains.
Indeed. Thanks for taking note of that. Said, me and Mangala made a genuine effort to do the best for the retail shareholders. So I'm glad you liked that interview. And at the end of it, when we wound it up as well, I recall telling the management that the stock market doesn't miss anything, and the stock market will, give every company the value that it deserves. But thanks so much for taking note of that, and thanks so much for joining in, today and giving us your view on a whole host of stocks.